Once again, and today we'll be talking about the new Symphonic Warrior support coming out of Dimension Force. Hey, I actually got the name of the set right this time. Anyways, let's get started. First off, we have Symphonic Warrior Guitarist, and it's a level 3 Wind Machine Pendulum Tuner Effect Monster. Wow, that was a mouthful. And it has 1100 attack and 500 defense. And its pendulum scale is 0. Its pendulum effect reads, you can target one other Symphonic Warrior card you control, return that card, and this card to your hand. Pretty nice, and it helps you clear your scales really easily. And I remember back in, I think the Pendulum era, there were a lot of people trying really hard to actually emulate that in decks like Cleafort. Yet here you have this thing doing it really well. Anyways, for its monster effects, first effect reads, if Symp Amplifier is in your field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. That would be pretty nice if this deck had a lot of consistent ways to get to it, but as you'll see later, you only have like a select few amount of ways to get to it. Second effect, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one card in your pendulum zone, return it to the hand. So almost like the first effect, but a little different. But with key differences. Second monster, we have Symphonic Warrior DJs. And it's a level 4 Wind Machine Pendulum Effect monster with 1200 attack and 1200 defense with a pendulum scale of 8. And its pendulum effects read, first effect, once per turn you can change one of your face-down defense position Symphonic Warrior monsters to face-up defense position, which works really well since Symphonic Warriors have a flip effect monster for some reason. Second effect, if a Symphonic Warrior monster's effect is activated. Also, this is something that Gergias would need. Anyway, not to get off track. But second effect, if a Symphonic Warrior monster's effect is activated, you can special summon this card from your Pendulum Zone. Yeah, it's all coming together. Like the first effect can easily trigger the second effect, but that's only if you get the Symphonic Flip effect monster. But there's many other ways you can trigger the second pendulum effect. Now for its monster effect, it reads, if this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon one Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck and face down defense position, except Symphonic Warrior DJs, but if you control Symp Amplifier, you can actually special summon one Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck, except Symphonic Warrior DJs, but its effects are negated. That's alright. Again, it's a little annoying how you do have to rely on the field spell, but I wouldn't be as annoyed if the deck actually had more consistent ways of getting to it. But whatever. Next, we have an actual synchro for this deck, even though we never really got synchro monsters before for this deck. And I only noticed it when I tried building this deck like 2-3 years ago. But let's get started. Not let's get started, but let's continue. Next, we have Symphonic Warrior Rocks. Very short name. Anyways, it's a level 7 Wind Machine Synchro Pendulum Effect monster, and yes, that was also a mouthful, with 2500 attack and 1500 defense, with a pendulum scale of 10. Its pendulum effect reads, during the standby phase, you can add one pendulum monster from your face-up extra deck to your hand. That's pretty nice to have. That's pretty nice for a pendulum deck to have, especially in Master Rule 5. And second effect reads, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can destroy that monster and this card. Also pretty nice, especially since you could easily pendulum summon this thing back from the extra deck, assuming that your extra monster zone is open or your opponent controls a link monster pointing downwards. By downwards I mean towards your field. And now for the monster effects. If this card is special summoned, you can add one pendulum monster from your face-up extra deck to your hand, which is pretty nice, especially if you pendulum summon it, but At the same time, if you pendulum summon it, you wouldn't be able to do anything with that monster you added unless you haven't used your normal summon or your additional normal summon. Second effect, if you control Synth Amplifier from in your field zone, you can destroy one card on the field. Again, annoying that you have to rely on Synth Amplifier. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they made it easier to get to it, but they haven't exactly. But the cool thing is, it's non-targeting and yeah, basically it's just non-targeting destruction. And third and last effect of this card reads, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect while in the main monster zone, you can just place this card in your pendulum. You can place this card in your pendulum zone. Next and lastly, I know it seems very sinful that Konami decided to give this deck like 4 new cards instead of 5, but we'll take it. Next and lastly, we have Dress Rehearsal, and it's a continuous spell card. And its first effect reads, each time the effect of the Symphonic Warrior card is activated, place one Symphonic counter on this card when that effect resolves. And this effect is really nice because with the field spell for this deck, it also places counters, but it's also hard to get the counters up to a certain number. Even in a slower format, that was still a very, very, very tasking thing to do, but this actually makes doing that a lot easier. I mean, not exactly, because you still have to draw this card and you still have to activate it and then get your Synth Amplifier. And I already discussed why that's kind of annoying. Second effect, you can remove 3 Symphonic counters from your field, add 1 Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck to your hand. That's pretty nice. I mean, you'd still need 3 Symphonic counters on the field, and to do that, consistently, you'd have to also have Synth Amplifier on the field. And the third effect, if you normal or special summon a Symphonic Warrior monsters, you can add 1 Synth Amplifier from your deck to your hand. Again, that's going to be a little difficult to do, but not too difficult. And luckily, the first effect also includes your pendulum effects, which is pretty nice. Anyways, tell me what you guys think about this new Symphonic Warrior support. And it's been me, your boy Blue Gets Guy, and I'm out.